Ayan, magandang umaga po, Attorney Rodel. Si Bombo Kiaryado po ito ng Bombo Radyo Naga. Welcome to our program. Bati muna kayo, Attorney or Dean, sa atin pong mga listeners and viewers.
Good morning, Kier. Maray na aga. Good morning to everyone sa mga followers po ninyo. I'm so happy to be invited.
Okay po. So ito, Attorney, pag-usapan po natin yung nangyari pong desisyon ng ICC. Dito nga po sa kumbaga sa petition ng kampo ni former President Duterte na kumbaga wala ng jurisdiction ng ICC sa kanyang kaso. So ito, Attorney, pag-usapan po muna natin para lang sa kabatiran ng ating mga tagapakinig. Paano nyo po ipapaliwanag dito po sa mga layman natin yung naging decision po ng appeals chamber kahapon? And bakit po nasabing may jurisdiction pa rin ang ICC kahit kumalas na po tayo noong 2019, Attorney Rodel?
So, ang question sa pag-appeal ni Duterte tungkol sa pag-proceed ng ICC, no? Ang pinag-uusapan dito ay jurisdiction. Unang-una, ang tribunal nag-resolve ng mga iba't ibang issues dito base sa appeal ni President Duterte. Una, as to the jurisdiction, no? Kahit na nag-withdraw ang Pilipinas sa Rome Statute kung saan nagbibigay ng kakayahan sa International Criminal Court na magpursige sa kaso ni Duterte. So first is on the jurisdiction despite the withdrawal, no. So we have said that the Philippines withdrawn in 2018 and became effective noong 2019. Pero initially, and it was sustained also by the appeals chamber, that the International Criminal Court has jurisdiction over the case of Duterte because the Philippines have been a member on November 1, 2011 and only withdrawn effectively in 2019, no? So sa mga panahon na miyembro ang Pilipinas sa ICC ay ang mga aksyon or ang mga inaction or ang crimes allegedly committed are covered on this jurisdictional issue, especially on the jurisdiction over the subject matter. Kasi meron din tayong tinatawag na jurisdiction over the period of time and jurisdiction over the person, no? So the jurisdiction over the person of President Duterte is without question kasi he is currently detained in Hague, no? And at the same time, as to the subject matter, these are crimes allegedly committed from the time that he was a mayor until the time that he became the president of the Republic of the Philippines for such crimes constituting murder and others that would be tantamount to crimes against humanity. And I think na napakinggan naman natin ang ibang discussions on that, no? Pangalawa, on the jurisdiction, no? Siyempre sinabi ng ICC na ang ICC ay may jurisdiction over the case ni Duterte, no? Kahit na nag-withdraw na. Pangalawa, if there are errors in the pretrial chamber's decision, so according to the ICC, there is no irreversible error in the pretrial chamber's interpretation of the law or the facts. Ang sabi ng ICC dito na appeals chamber ay ang depensa hindi nila napatunayan na misapply ng lower chamber ang questions on the jurisdiction. At the same time, the International Criminal Court appeals chamber said that, and I mean dismissed the claims na dapat i-release agad si Duterte kasi nga nag-withdraw na ang Pilipinas. So sinasabi niya na these are moot, no? Kasi ang person ni President Duterte is already in the jurisdiction of the ICC, and also the appeals chamber stressed the point that the purposes of the Rome Statute, of course, is to always see to it that there is a balancing of interests of the state at the same time the persons accused or being investigated or examined for the crimes covered by the International Criminal Court.
Okay po yun. Pero ito, Attorney, para po sa inyo or kung kayo po ang tatanungin, Tama ba, attorney, yung naging interpretation ng ICC na yun nga, sapat na yung preliminary examination para i-trigger yung continuing jurisdiction, attorney? And meron ba itong preceding sa ibang kaso, attorney Rodel?
We have to remember that prior to the withdrawal, there was already the announcement na the International Criminal Court, the prosecution is starting the examination, no, of the situation in the Philippines, actually together with Venezuela during that time. And it was the triggering point also when the President of the Republic of the Philippines withdrawn from this Rome Statute, no, and there were several instances on this. So may mga nag-withdraw din, and remember that this is a treaty and it is a prerogative of the state to continue or to even withdraw, no. So on the part of the Philippines, and klaro din, no, sa Rome Statute that they are allowed to withdraw provided that they provide notice and it becomes effective 12 months thereafter, no. So sa aking pananaw at sa aking pagbasa, ang decision ng appeals chamber ng ICC ay sakto lang, tama lang, at naayon sa Rome Statute at sa rules sa sinusunod ng International Criminal Court.
Okay po. Pero ito kasi, attorney, sinasabi din ng kampo ni Duterte na quote and quote, walang legal basis ang ICC. Para sa inyo, attorney, ano ang pinakamalakas nilang argument na nireject po ng appeals chamber? And ano naman yung kahinaan nito under the Rome Statute, attorney Rodel?
Kasi ang pinag-uusapan dito ang jurisdiction, no? And in international law, when we speak about jurisdiction, we speak about jurisdiction over the subject matter, which could include crimes against humanity, no, commission of crimes against humanity, and at the same time, jurisdiction over the person, also jurisdiction over the time alleged or the time or within the time frame, no, of the commission of the alleged offenses. And if we follow this through all these lenses of jurisdiction, we can always say that, and we can conclude that the case of Duterte falls really within the jurisdiction of the ICC. And kung titingnan pa din natin, lahat ng mga statements ng appeals chamber, even the pretrial chamber on these questions on jurisdiction are clear enough. And ang sinasabi ng kampo ng depensa dito ay pinanindigan nila na at this time the Philippines is not anymore a state member to the Rome Statute. And kung ganyan ang argumento natin, it can always be the reason of the corrupt governments, authoritarian states para mag-commit muna ng mga crimes and all that and then aalis and ganun-ganun na lang. And this is the reason why International Criminal Court came about, because of the atrocities, the crimes that can be committed even by the world leaders, the leaders of respective states. That's why here makikita natin ang individual, no? The individual in these cases of International Criminal Court are considered as subjects of international law, and hindi lang siya mere objects of international, kasi dito individual ang pwedeng magsampa ng kaso against commander-in-chief, sa existing government leader. At the same time, nasa international tribunal, which is not often used kasi nga we know that a person can only be represented by its state abroad, I mean in an international tribunal. But in this case, who can represent you when the state that is supposed to protect you is committing something bad or criminal act against you and its people? So that's one thing, no? And the arguments of the defense here are paulit-ulit na lang din naman, no, on the questions on kasi nag-withdraw na. But hindi natin lagi naalala na klaro ang Rome Statute and that it becomes effective, and it should not be the reason para lang mapaiwalan sala, or they can evade the effects of the treaty by simply withdrawing from the treaty itself. Bombakir.
Okay po, yun. Pero ito attorney, maitanong ko po, final na po ba yung ruling na ito sa jurisdiction? O meron pa po bang ibang legal na remedy yung defense para questionin ulit ang jurisdiction habang umuusad pa po yung kaso, Attorney Rodel?
The appeals chamber had said that this decision on the jurisdiction is non-appealable at this time, and so magpo-proceed talaga kung saan nagtapos tayo nung previous months, so sa confirmation of charges, and yun ang hinihintay natin. But I think the Duterte camp can always bring that in the course of the trial, and they will have a continuing objection, but the proceeding shall push through, and they can continue with those arguments. I mean, they can always say that. But
Oh,
as regards the appeals chamber, non-appealable na siya.
okay po. Ito attorney, sa lawyer's perspective, sa inyo, ano attorney yung magiging epekto ng ruling na ito sa ibang mga bansa na gustong kumalas sa ICC para takasan yung investigasyon? Magiging precedent ba attorney ang Duterte case dito, Attorney Rodel?
I think this is a good lesson for the rest of the world on the questions on rule of law, at the same time on the performance in good faith of the treaties entered into by these respective states, and that there is no such thing as impunity, no? Alalahanin natin that while you can control all the powers within your state and as a powerful leader in your state, but in the eyes of the law and the rest of the world is watching, you cannot evade this effects of the law. No, so and I think the very reason why the ICC was created because of the many experiences in other states, no? So ito ay isang pamamaraan, no? So marami ang magke-question, maraming hindi maniniwala on this, but this is what we need in the world where leaders can abuse their people, and the place where they are acting as sovereign.
Okay po. Puntahan natin attorney yung ano, yung pagdedesisyon naman ng ICC kung matutuloy sa trial proper yung case ni Duterte. So, matatandaan natin attorney natapos na yung confirmation hearing nung February. Ano kaya dito attorney yung tinitignan ng pre-trial chamber para yun nga magdesisyon kung iko-confirm ba ang charges, and ano po yung standard na substantial grounds to believe, Attorney Rodel?
These are, ang sinasabi nga natin dito, ang threshold dito ng ebidensya na kinakailangan ay there are substantial grounds to proceed to trial. Kumbaga parang preliminary investigation. Kumbaga parang sa ngayon sa nangyayari sa ating bansa, may initial investigation. No? So the threshold here is of course simply substantial evidence, and the substantiality of the evidence here would pose the question of nagawa kaya niya? Totoo ba kayang nagawa niya ang krimen na ito or this international crime? Or is it probable na nangyari ito? So based on the evidence presented and based on the charges against him, so sapat ba ito para mag-proceed sa trial? Remember that on this stage of the confirmation of charges, the charges were only presented and they argued, nakita natin, no, at lahat ng mga statements nila. But if ever, I think it's within the coming days na magdedesisyon. May nabasa ako, it's April 27, no, na may decision on the confirmation of charges. So ang mangyayari dito, no, una sa lahat, there will be a finding or there will be no finding of substantial grounds to proceed to trial. So yun lang ang pinaka-basic na i-resolve for the confirmation of charges. So if it will be confirmed, then he becomes officially an accused, no? So now he will be proceeding sa trial kung saan the prosecution will present their case. He will have the time to counter this. They can conduct cross-examinations and all that to test on the witnesses. Um, but before that, what if ma-deny, no, Bombokir? What if ma-deny ang if the charges are not confirmed? So the case will be tantamount to being dismissed. So ang mga followers ni former President Duterte will serve a delicious humba for sure.
Okay po, very well said, attorney. Eto attorney, kung halimbawa i-confirm ang charges, automatic ba attorney na may trial proper? And gaano katagal ito bago magsimula? Totoo bang end of 2026 ang estimate ng prosecution, Attorney Rodel?
They're saying medyo, syempre, pag na-confirm ang charges, they really have to prepare for the trial also, no? So, lahat ng mga ebidensya, lahat ng mga witnesses, and the preparations, and not only the parties here, but even the court, no? The court has to prepare itself also for this lengthy process that may be involved, no? So, as to the administrative side, and at the same time, on the part of the prosecution and on the part of the defense. So others may say that kung ma-release this month, so it may even start sometime fourth quarter of the year, no? Because of the preparations that have to be undertaken also sa pagiging ready sa kaso na ito.
Okay po. Dito, attorney, may na-encounter akong term, yung tinatawag na indirect co-perpetrator. I think ito yung chinarge kay Duterte. Ang tanong ko dito, attorney, ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ng yung indirect co-perpetrator? And bakit yan yung chinarge kay Duterte? Bakit hindi direct perpetrator, Attorney Rodel?
Kung napapanood ninyo, no, ang confirmation of charges hearing before, no, I think this was sufficiently discussed ng indirect co-perpetrator kasi we have to remember dito na he is the president of the Republic of the Philippines, and at the same time he is the commander-in-chief. Kung titingnan natin dito, he may not be necessarily be the ones na gagawa ng murder or torture or and all this, no, but with the state's power and the state's how should I say this, with the state's functions and especially the police officers and the persons acting on behalf of the president, these, and by the doctrine of command responsibility also, there can be a point na he is an indirect co-perpetrator on this kasi inalaw niya na mangyari ito unang-una bilang commander-in-chief. At the same time, his statements are very clear that would support the action in the field, the memorandum in the PNP, no, as to the the killing part, neutralized part, no, which are being executed in the field. So, and all of these, no, medyo mahaba yan here kung di-discuss natin ang entire concept ng indirect co-perpetrator, but sa simpleng pamamaraan natin na maintindihan, I think that would show that while he is the president and at the same time mayor before also, sa mga panahon na mayor siya at the same time sa panahon na presidente siya, all these crimes are with his imprimatur, and at the same time ang hudyat ay nasa kanya. Hawak niya ang beat, kumbaga, Bombokir.
Alrighty, yun. Eto, attorney, bukod sa jurisdiction, nireject din ng ICC ang appeal for interim release dahil nga po sa health ni Duterte noong mga panahong yon. Ang tanong ko dito, attorney, paano po ba tinitimbang ng ICC yung flight risk versus humanitarian grounds dito, Attorney Rodel?
If you can see in the ICC rules, no, it is allowed, no, under certain conditions ang interim release, no. So sa paniniwala ko from the start, I would suppose that Duterte can be released on the basis of his health condition, at the same time his age, But there were questions on whether he is a flight risk, no? So ang question ng flight risk, ito ang naging hadlang sa kanya, no? And ang flight risk dito ay paniniwala ng International Criminal Court is that ang kanyang because of his supporters na special mention ang mga supporters nila. He was even his daughter is even the vice president of the Republic of the Philippines. He has a power outside, and he is and he can be capable of fleeing from the jurisdiction. There were questions before as to saan siya, if ever i-release siya, anong mangyayari. So it can be that there may be certain conditions. It can be that he will be released in a state where number one, unang-una, member ng ICC. At the same time, with um, the promise na syempre hindi niya i-allow na makaalis ng kanilang bansa, no. So but what I'm trying to say here, Kier, is that interim release can be based on the factual circumstances, but I think they have the medical doctors. I think it's a team that really looked into the actual health condition of former President Duterte. And if we look at the statements of Kitty in one of lately na mga sinabi niya na his dad is okay and yung mga ganyan, no? So lahat ng circumstances around him, including the statements of his family, including even their supporters, yun ang problema actually siguro. Nakapasama pa nga yung mga sobrang diehard ng mga ibang supporters, which even the ICC has been threatened by them.
Okay po. Ito attorney, sa pagkakaalala ko attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, may naka-pending pa na motion yung defense tungkol sa unfit to stand trial. Ang tanong dito attorney, paano po ito nakakaapekto sa timeline kung i-confirm yung charges, Attorney Rodel?
I think kasi dalawa or tatlong beses na siyang nag-question on that, no. We have to remember, by the way, Bro Bokir, na ang health condition may be on a regular period, will be checked naman talaga ang sitwasyon ni former President Duterte, and that is part of the entire process of ensuring that detainees are fit to proceed to trial. But as you said, the medical officers have said that he is in a better position right now, no? And maybe siguro sa susunod na schedule ng medical check-up or medical check ni Duterte, that can also be determined because it will be on a regular basis, and at the same time the interim release can always be filed by them again based on the medical results or medical condition as observed by the medical doctors.
Okay
And
po.
as your question can be fit, so it's for the medical team to determine.
Okay po. Eto attorney, kung matuloy sa trial, gaano po ba katagal yung karaniwang ICC trial para po dito sa crimes against humanity? Tingin niyo ba attorney aabutin ito ng halimbawa election sa 2028 dito sa Pilipinas, attorney?
I can surmise that it can even be until 2028, no? Baka hindi pa siya matatapos, or if ever man, baka during that time, no? Pero kung titignan natin ang mga witnesses at ang mga ebidensya, so may narinig na tayong, I think there during the confirmation charges there were reductions on the number of persons, no. May mga identified, maraming mga witnesses, because I think one thing that has to be proven by the prosecution there are, for example, kung paano niya maitatahi lahat ng mga circumstansya na magli-lead sa guilt or guilt ni Duterte. Halimbawa, at sinasabi mong crimes against humanity, paano ang isang killing ng ilang tao lamang constitute ng crimes against humanity, no? So yung mga bagay na yon. So they have to really make a good weave sa mga threads of evidence dito. Kasi halimbawa, doon sa pagpatay lamang, no? Sa pagpatay, may mga questions on ilang tao ba, or on the records of the police, the records of the judiciary, the records of the prosecution office, and many more, no? So there can be many evidence to be presented just to prove the point, no? And the elements of the crime are quite clear and must be satisfied by the prosecution, otherwise he will be declared innocent.
Okay po. Eto attorney, mga remaining question na lang, ano po. So, ano ba attorney para sa inyo ang political and legal impact kung halimbawa ma-convict o halimbawa ma-acquit pa si Duterte sa ICC? Maaapektuhan ba nito attorney yung mga pending na kaso sa Pilipinas, attorney?
For the political impact, obviously, no, it would benefit her daughter who announced her candidacy, who is subject to impeachment now. But if especially if bago mag election, no, so it can create a big impact, and I can imagine how the supporters will celebrate on this. It will surely have an impact on the political sphere in the Philippines, leadership, and all that. As to the cases here in the Philippines, as against him or as against his family, because of the political influence, whether we like it or not, we have to admit that they are still holding power, no? And Vice President Duterte is such a strong force to be reckoned with come the election span, no? So that's why I really think that if ever, no, ma-release siya and ma-deny ang charges against him, this will really make a different turnaround even sa Kongreso siguro, no? And especially come the elections. But if it's on the other way around, it will be a silent celebration maybe, in terms of those people who are clamoring for the rule of law, and at the same time for the human rights violations and those acts in I mean during the time that he was president of the Philippines, no? So this will exactly create a different impact in the Philippines, no? Whether it's politically or legally, and at the same time it will create a different color, especially to the followers.
Okay po. Eto attorney, bago tayo magtapos sa ating interview, bilang eksperto sa larangan ng international law, ano ba attorney yung pinakamahalagang aral ng Duterte case para sa Pilipinas at sa ICC system? Nag-work ba yung halimbawa complementarity principle dito, attorney Rodel?
I think if we are asking for the important lessons here as a teacher, I will teach first and remind, especially the Philippines as a state, that we have to be strong with our treaty arrangements. If we are in a treaty, we have to perform our treaties in good faith, and at the same time, there is such a thing as pacta sunt servanda. We have to abide by our decisions because our ability to observe cooperation and good faith in all our dealings with other states will also spark a good relationship that could be helpful in times of, let's say, return of the likes of Zaldico and all that. So these cooperation arrangements are very good, and treaty arrangements are fundamental for a state if it intends to continue a good relationship with the rest of the world. When you question about complementarity, it also gives us a lesson that we have to strengthen our domestic rules, domestic guidelines, domestic enforcement of our laws, because after all, we are a sovereign state, and that we have to hold accountable all the people who may be committing violations of the law, And at the same time, when we speak about complementarity, we have to make sure that all the systems are in good shape, that we are able to implement our laws, the laws that are needed to provide peace, security, and order for the Filipinos. And at the same time, it will also give us a good face in the world when we say that the rule of law stands in the country.